Um, I have a Ryan McMahon question,
Okay.
a little bit hypothetical, which I know you
Okay.
dislike. You know, like just ignoring your overall roster for a second. Like, let's say you were drafting an expansion team, for instance, and you picked Ryan McMahon first. Where would you put him? What position would you have him in defensively?
Defensive. Well, I would probably, I would think second base because here you are, which is for me, a premium defensive position. And then you combine offense with a premium defensive position. I mean, you got a really good player. You got a really good player who, that does it on both sides. When you talk about an offensive shortstop like Trevor, like Lind, or like a lot of the guys who are coming out as free agents this year. I mean, what a bonus to have the defense and the offense at a premium defensive position. Center field, second base, shortstop, catcher. The old adage of strength up the middle, there's something to that. There really is, to have good players up the middle. That sort of tells you how good a team you are if you have that, and with both sides. And I think Mac, fills both bills at second base.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I mean, he's good at third too, but he's great at third. And third base is an offensive position, and he combines it with good defense too. But when you think of, on a traditional scouting chart and scale, when you identify certain positions and what you want out of those from traditional scouting, and I think even analytic scouting. Your corner guys, first and third, right and left, you want offense, you want production. And up the middle, you want defense, and then hopefully you have players who also have offense.
Yeah, this is what I was getting at. So would you have said the same thing, even a year ago or 2 years ago about
Yeah, because I think he's an athletic player. I think you look at Mac, and that's something we thought that we had the versatility moving forward with him to do multiple things, and we played him at first base, right? I mean, he was in the minor leagues, we sort of moved him to first after the second base repetitions, we moved him to first because we had, potentially we had DJ at second, and we were looking at, maybe Reynolds moving on. And we were going to think about putting put Desi back in left, and we, thinking Mac at first. And so, his versatility has been, so advantageous for us and ultimately for him, right, to go through the minor leagues.
It just seems like, and tell me if my memory is off, is just that his progression defensively at second base. There was some a little bit of question at first, but like he really seems like he's almost at DJ's level.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, anytime you go to a new position, there's a learning curve, but and it might have been a little rocky early and from our minor league reports. But then I think once there was I don't know. I think Mac ultimately bought in. Of course he has now. And then the work intensity and work capacity was able to quickly get to the point where he became an above average defender at first, second, and third. I think we always sort of knew that at third. That's his natural position.
Yeah.
When all the years as a kid, even prior to high school and then through high school and then through the minor leagues, but because of his athleticism, it's made it easier for him to, make that adjustment, make it quickly, and become. I mean, for me, I'd have to look at it real quickly to go through every team in our league, but he's got to be thought of as one of the best defenders in the National League, no matter where you put him.
Yeah, interesting. So then, separately, and I wasn't trying to set you up here at all.
That's fine.
But separately, so are you then at all sort of reluctant to keep moving him around, or Are you going to take advantage of the visit?
Well, I think we have to take advantage of it now. I mean, you don't like to move, guys who are your like key players, and guys who, are built to play every day. But there are guys out there who are doing it. Chris Bryant comes to mind right now, right? I mean, we've seen Bryant in left, center, right, third, second. The only place I haven't seen Bryant is at short because they've had Baez, and they at first where they've had Rizzo, but Bryant's been all over. He comes to mind as a guy that's moved. Mac as a third year player. I suspect that ultimately he's going to find one spot and just settle in and be a durable, built to play every day type guy. He's to that point now. I think we've talked about our team right over the last year. I think Tapia and Mac of our younger players, our group are the guys that look to be our future. Built to play every day. And by that, I mean, 150 to 162 games. If they stay healthy, they're built for that. They're capable of it because of their strength, their constitution. Those are the, and there's, you go through the list of guys, maybe, 100 players, maybe, who are those type of guys, 150, maybe. The Freddie Freemans, the Nolans, the, Trevor. I mean, down the line of those types of guys that do it every day.
Yeah,
Trout, Poole, even though Trout got banged up, Pujols for years was that guy. The guys I'm talking about.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah.
Thomas Harding.
Yes, buddy. Good afternoon.
Thomas?
All right. I had some questions, but I want to follow up a little bit on Mac. When Rodgers is back, could you see Rodgers playing third and you sticking with Mac at second? Or
We talked about in the spring, probably not. I think we'll get Mac back to third. Rodgers will play second. Now, and again, it'll be a little bit, I guess what I'm saying is we're going to move Mac around this year.
Okay, all right. And one more to follow up on.
And Rodgers can play short or third. I mean, we know he can play a little bit of third, but that's where his least amount of reps have been.
Okay.
At third. And then Rodgers, if Trev needs a blow, we can play Rodgers at short. He's a natural shortstop.
Okay.
He played short last night in AAA.
Right. Yes.
I had a good game. Played well.
I saw where he had the 5 chances. Did a nice job with it. And one last one on Mac. Just talking about second base. Going back to Jeff Kent and a few guys now, DJ, Mac. Has second base become a big man's position? It used to be you'd put the Joe Morgans there and people like that. Has second base become a big man's position?
I don't think so. I mean, if you have the guy, yeah. But I still think that it's probably thought of. It doesn't matter what type of size or stature a player has. If he can play it and he can bring offense, you'll see guys. You'll see guys there, right? You'll see that type of big man there. Sandberg was a bigger type player. Kent, was not the defensive player Mac is, but he was an offensive, a guy that hit, third or fourth in the lineup once he got, once he really got, his feet into the ground as an offensive player. So, but still, I think the guys you say, I mean, the Dodgers throw Muncy over there at times, but I still think it's, probably traditionally it's defense first, a guy that covers range, good hands, really dependable fielder, that type of player. I mean, Colton Wong type, Nick Madrigal. I mean, we can go down the list, but I'm not surprised if you have a guy like Mac or DJ or Kent. I know the Padres, have Cronenworth there now, but he's a versatile guy. You see him all over the diamond too. It depends. It depends on the team and it depends on your roster.
All right, good for us under 6 foot people. As far as Toppy is concerned, when he gets into a little bit of a rut, and he sits, and obviously today with the left-hander Snell there, it seemed natural. Does he go into the cage and work all day, or do you try to pull him back from it as far as trying to get him straight?
I think with Tap, I think less is more. Generally speaking, I think with Tap, because he's I think he's a gifted hitter. I think a lot of this comes naturally. I think a lot of times it's best if he just has a blow from starting. That seems to get him right, as opposed to getting in the cage and messing with his mechanics or messing with anything. I think we found out that a day off here and there for Tapia helps him and not overthink things when he's in a little bit of a funk.
All right, and last one from me. Now that CJ is back and you're hoping to get Rodgers back, do you feel like some of these lower service time guys that got a lot of playing time, that maybe now is their chance to also prove that they're good off the bench, which is a skill within itself? Right.
Well, again, I think they'll all be, all these guys will get playing time, but. In a National League game, it does help, especially if we keep, a 9-man bullpen with a 4-man bench. They're going to be in a lot of games, and most games, because we'll, probably try to stay away from the catcher. So the 3 guys who are position players will figure in the game somehow in most games. So that is a good thing you brought up about, their ability to contribute off the bench. And, if this team stays intact the whole season, there'll be plenty of opportunities for all those guys to pinch hit, to double switch, to come in late, to, come in close games and, make a play defensively, give us a good at bat. So, yeah, I mean, we'll assess all that going forward, but you're right. I think, again, Rodgers, when he comes, Hampson, Fuentes, Daza, Trejo, Connor Joe, and even CJ, who's been an American League player for his career, to when he doesn't start, to see what he can do, coming off the bench, right? I mean, that's one of the reasons why we got Adams was, Adams has been predominantly a National League player, and we wanted that type of presence on the bench. And CJ will, when he's not starting, will provide that presence. So that even though they're not quite to that, long in the tooth type of career that Giambi was when he was a Rocky, but it's nice to have people on the bench who've provide some danger.
All right, hey, thanks, buddy.
Yes.
All right, buddy. We have a few more. We'll go to Kyle Newman, and we'll go to Tracy and finish up with Kevin. Kyle, go ahead.
Buddy, nice to see you.
Hi, Kyle.
Got a question on Warren Schaefer. So he was honored today with the Player Development Award for the organization. Yep. What's your relationship like with him, and what does he, bring just kind of to the organization, both at AAA and spring training, day to day?
Yeah, you're right. Actually, I just talked to Schaefer about 20 minutes ago, Kyle, and we spoke 3 days ago. We texted 2 days ago. Actually, we're in contact quite often, and he's been in big league camp now for the last couple of years. So I've got to know Schaefer as a worker, as a guy to bounce things off of, to be part of our meetings, spring training and evaluator. So what I've grown to appreciate Schaefer is he's hardworking, he's diligent, he's organized, he's on top of things. I know that, nothing is, left to, any imagination. That I don't worry. I don't worry about anything that he's in charge of, put it that way. I think he's a good evaluator. I think being around, big league players and big league camp, watching spring training games, has helped him over the last couple of years. He hasn't seen a lot of, regular season big league games, but, he asks a lot of questions, which is great. I think he understands infield play really well. So that's his strength on the diamond, but he's managed now for a few years. He watches the game. He he evaluates pitchers well, players, outfielders, position, infielders, doesn't matter. So I think organizationally we have a lot of trust and faith in Shafe and what he brings to the organization. He's a good one.
Appreciate that, buddy. And then one final one for me. I know you've gotten close with Vic Fangio from the Broncos, but have you talked at all with Michael Malone from the Nuggets or Jared Bednar from the Avs, and any thoughts on their prospective playoff runs?
Yeah, not Vic texted the last 2 games against the Reds because he watches. He's a big baseball fan, and he he made some comments about those being tough losses, and I appreciate that. Because only a coach knows, how we feel, regardless of the sport. I've texted Michael over the last 5 years. This year, not so much. I'll obviously get that going here. Wish him well in the playoffs. Jared, I have not, unfortunately. If you recall last year, I did throw on a Avs sweater for a couple Zoom meetings that we did when our season was underway and they were starting their playoffs. But they won last night. Good win for them. We'll be following. I'll be following. But probably Michael more via text over the last number of years. Bednar not so much. Unfortunately, that's my. And I listen. I should do that because he's a good coach. He's got a really good team. And I've heard great things about him.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
I got it, Tracy.
Hey, buddy. One tall second baseman we didn't mention was Gritch, Bobby Gritch.
Yes, Bobby Gritch was. You're right, but he was 6'2", 6'3", and strong. Right, he'd drop that knee on a stolen base with the best of them. He was tough. He was old school tough, as you know. Yeah, he was. Davey Johnson, played some second too, and Davey was a bigger second baseman with the Orioles. When Belanger was a tall shortstop with Davey. So, and there's others, if I think hard a little bit, Julio Franco was 6 foot, 6'1", played second base, was an offensive player, really good hitter. We can go through the annals, but yeah, Bobby Gritch. Comes to mind. Frank White, 5'11", 6 foot, Trace, right? Not a real big guy, but a defender and a little bit of power.
LeMahieu, when LeMahieu went to second base, he was the tallest second baseman on a regular basis in history.
Wow.
It's 6'3".
That's right. I think DJ's taller than that, isn't he?
He was listed at 6'3".
Ooh, I got him taller. That's he might be one of the few guys that undersizes himself because he was a second baseman.
On the question of, I know Freeland, you're going to reevaluate him after tomorrow. Brendan Rodgers has had only three games down there, but they've been pretty good. Where's he stand as far as how quick could he be back up?
He could be. Well, he had, there were some games down in extended spring training. There were some simulated games. He hit against Kyle. He hit against Almonte. There were some simulated games where he, got what we feel was like live at bats. Today, this will be his fourth game in AAA at 2 7s, I believe. And then we played 9 last night. We'll play 9 again tonight. So he's getting close. Like I said, I talked to Shafe 20 minutes ago, and Shafe relayed that, he feels as though he's ready and really close, to being with us. And like I said, I trust Shafe.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
All right, Kevin Henry, and I got a quick follow-up from Thomas. Kevin, go ahead.
Buddy, I'll be the 9-hole hitter and try to get it back to the top of the lineup here.
Okay, Kevin, I like it. You're unselfish. Some people refer to that as the second leadoff hitter.
There you go.
In the American League, yeah.
I'll take it. You mentioned Matt Adams a minute ago. I know it's early in his IL stint, but just wanted to see if there was an update. Keith said it's going to be at least 2 weeks of, really a lot of non-activity because that bone and that sheath around the tibia there is real fragile and real dicey that you don't want to aggravate it because of the swelling and the trauma in that area. So, he's improving. He's able to walk, and actually he played, a game or pinch hit or played a game with it in that status before
he sort of got sore, and really looked at it with a fine tooth comb with the MRI, and to realize that, he was in a little bit of jeopardy. If he hit that again, it could really be damaging. So we're going to be careful to make sure this thing is really healed to the point where if he does happen to foul a ball off that again, it won't be like, a couple month thing. That's what some of the docs were saying, that it could potentially be that. But, I'll say it this, Kevin, when his 10 days are up, he's not close to being active.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then with Charlie back tonight, you've actually got a full bench for the first time since the weekend, right?
Yeah, 4-man bench. I think you look at most National League teams, it's either a 5-man bench or 4-man bench. We went with 3 for a couple of days because we needed the pitching. The Padres are at a 4-man bench. I think even last week against us, they had a 3-man bench based on a lot of their COVID stuff. So it's rare that when that happens, it puts you a little bit, behind the 8 ball as the game gets in the middle part of the game. But, out of necessity, you have to do certain things.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Yep.
All right, Thomas Hardy, finish it up.
Yeah, just wanted to follow up. Trone had been an American League player, but played a lot of first base for you. And obviously, as he got going, he helped you offensively. If you can just assess where he was at the time that he got hurt, offensively and defensively.
I think statistically, you could say that he was one of our better players, right? If you look at the OPS and you look at I think his batting average was, close to 280. His on base was like 380. Slugging percentage was high. He hadn't hit with a lot of guys on base with scoring position. I think somebody told me that, he never had one situational at bat where there was a guy on third base with less than 2 outs. So, that's ironic when a guy that hits, he was hitting, 4th or 5th or 6th for us. But, once he got going, he and Mac were, they were probably our most dangerous hitters. Right when he went down, he was really in a good spot. And he started slowly too, right? The first, 20, 25 at bats were a little light, but then he caught fire. So, hopefully he can, recapture, that swing and that, that performance that he was showing before he got injured.
Thanks, buddy.
Okay. All right, guys.
Thank you, buddy.
Yep.
Everyone will talk to you post game.